how do I improve our chances when my husband isn't willing to make changes? First of all, rude, he should be willing to make changes, but let's explore why that is so common and why that is the starting point for so many men. Number one is men don't like to believe that there's anything wrong with their stuff downstairs. They're like, my penis works great and it's fine. And like any insinuation that there might be something that's less than perfect down there is just like so hard for so many men to receive. And not all, of course, I shouldn't generalize at all, but we're exploring the most common reasons, right? So this is, I would say, the most common reason. They don't like that. And then secondly, they don't see the need. The first category is more like men who have not had a semen analysis yet. So they're just like, it goes up and stuff comes out, so it must be perfect, right? They usually haven't had a semen analysis yet. So now the second category is kind of like the men who have had a semen analysis and they're like, it's okay. It's maybe like your morphology was a little on the low side, but your count was good, or vice versa. And the doctor's like, yeah, it's okay. First of all, keep in mind that the okay and the average have lowered so much in the last few decades that what's considered normal now was considered basically subfertile 50 years ago. So you really want those numbers to be on the high end of things to really come away from that semen analysis feeling like it's good. Okay, that's a whole different thing. And I have a lot more about that in the man cave inside the program about the sperm counts declining and why and all that stuff. So this question actually came from a member, not a guest. So a member inside of my Cultivate Fertility Program, her husband is someone who has had the semen analysis and has received the information that things are not maybe great, but they're like, okay. And he has access to this information because male partners of my members get access to my program and to some additional information that's specific to men and male fertility. He doesn't want to look at it, and we're trying to figure out kind of what maybe those reasons are, right? So I know when she asked this question, we've already done a little troubleshooting on why he doesn't want to make some changes. So he's someone who, again, had okay numbers, but not great. So she thinks, and I agree, that he should be making some changes, right? And that there are a lot of ways that he could be improving his fertility and his overall health. So why would he not? While most of what we focus on in the program is physical, there are a lot of emotional reasons that play into different imbalances that men and women have. So there's always the possibility, the high chance, that a certain person is not willing to come to terms with their own emotional traumas that have led them to be extremely protective or defensive about their sexuality, their health, any of these things. In stage 3 of my program, we specifically work on repressed emotions and emotional stress and trauma that's usually been stuffed way down there and people aren't even often aware of anymore. But to get your male partner to do the program with you, which again should be no-brainer because it's included, it's free, right? It's like, it's right there. She's already logged in, right? But so many of them are resistant and hesitant too. So the first thing I told her was to have him look in the man cave, which is like that specific male fertility friendly area in the program where he can kind of get things in his terms, right? I've designed that man cave to be much more about a male friendly look at fertility. They're still kind of getting used to the stance now that is, I hope, common knowledge, which is that men are 50% of the fertility picture and that they can influence not just conception and implantation, but also the continued health of the pregnancy after it's established. So they matter a lot. They matter a lot. And if they don't want to make these changes, I think there's 2 things we can do. One is getting their buy-in by explaining their pattern of imbalance. So members also have the ability, right, to submit tongue photos from their male partner into our private group where I can then give a little bit of insight about what maybe his patterns of imbalance are that are contributing to this. So while I don't let men in the group with us, you are allowed to get my input on his situation as well. So that can help because once they're like, oh, all of that's related. I didn't know that my jock itch and my foot fungus and my loose, hot, stinky poop every day and my yellow tongue coating all had something to do with each other, and maybe that's contributing to my subpar sperm morphology, right? Once we put it all together for them and say, yeah, you have damp heat in the lower part of your body, obviously, right? Obviously to me, to you eventually. Once we explain that to them and then they can see kind of more of that cause and effect or more of that relationship, then they get the buy-in, right? And they're like, oh, so all I have to do is eat less fried food and less, cut down on the cheese sticks and whatever, and then eat more of these foods. I can do that, right? So giving them the information, just enough information that they need to buy in, is hugely helpful, okay? Hugely helpful for them seeing the need to make the changes. And that usually gets people over hump 1 and 2 that I started out with, where they're like, I'm fine, I don't need anything, there's nothing wrong. See, the paper said it was okay too. That will help with all that, because they're like, oh, I would like to get my feet less itchy, or I would like to have less, of that stinky fire diarrhea. And I always wondered why my tongue coat was yellow with red dots on it. Oh, I could help all of these things. I'll do it, right? So that's good. The last part I'll say is you're going to have the opportunity to make a lot of the changes for them. So do I think this is the best answer? No, but I think it's a really useful answer. So as you work through the Cultivate Fertility Program, going through each one of your imbalances that we find in you, you're not only going to make changes in your household that impact you and your fertility and health, but they're by default going to help improve his as well. So a lot of this is going to come from the fertile living section of the program, where we go through laundry room tour and looking at your kitchen, your things that you're cooking with, and you're going to be wanting to switch out some things in your environmental exposures that are known endocrine disruptors that we know change your hormones. I mean, plastics alone is a huge one, right? We know that microplastics are shedding off of literally everything plastic in our lives, and that when microplastics get in our body, we know it causes our aromatase levels to go up, and that aromatase is what makes your body turn all your hormone precursors into estrogen instead of some estrogen, a good amount of testosterone. It's just like, no, please make all estrogen. So that's really, really bad for men for obvious reasons, right? As well as it is bad for women. So you're going to, by default, make some changes for him. You're going to be removing some of the artificial fragrance endocrine disruptors from his laundry, whether he chose that or not. So again, is this my favorite part of the answer? No, I would love for him to be just as engaged in the program as you, and just as into learning in the man cave as you are in the womb room, and eager and excited and happy to make changes that benefit not only his own personal health every day, from his moods and sleep and emotions and digestion and too, but for his future children, right? So that's where we want to end up. But there is a different amount of buy-in. Different humps look different for every couple and everyone individually. So we can work with that hesitancy, we can work with that resistance, and we can go about it a few different ways to help an unwilling partner end up being willing to make changes that matter for all of you.